So I'll select recommendations. And one of the key design principles behind this was to try to make this as easy as possible for merchants. So it's to really simplify the amount of choices and to help them understand what are the best placements and recommendation units to put across the site. So the first step that I'll go through is selecting where I want the recommendation unit to appear. So there's some standard placements here. I'll decide I want this to be on the product detail page. And I can decide where on that page this should go. So there'll be a set of out-of-the-box placements that'll work without any coding. And so I can select below the main content, but you can see there'll be the option to go in and by putting some custom markup into your theme to define some custom containers and tell this configuration that that's where you want the recommendations to be inserted. Finally, the last thing to decide is a priority, and so the concept of priority allows you to put or stack multiple recommendations into the same placement. So higher priority things would be shown higher up on the list. So in this case, I'll say I want this particular unit to be a very high priority. All right, so I've decided where I want the recommendation to go. Now I'm going to decide how I want the recommendation to behave. So I'll get a set of algorithm choices. So a lot of these relate to the algorithms that we talked about before, but the key thing here is that the set of algorithms that I as a merchant get a choice for are based on the page type that I selected previously. So item-based recommendations typically do very well on product detail pages, which is why we tend to see them in our shopping experiences. People who viewed this also viewed that. So I get a set of item-based recommendations. Customer who viewed it also viewed also bought, or bought also bought. If I were, say, on a home page, that might not be an appropriate set of choices. So I may choose to show the most popular or things that are recommended for that individual shopper based on their viewing behavior and not necessarily the page that they're on. So I'll get a curated set of algorithms to choose from. I can select how many of the recommendations I want to see, and I can also give the recommendation unit a headline. So let's call this people also
link.
All right, and we'll get a quick preview. This is just designed to show at a high level how we might expect this to render on different device types. All right, so we've chosen where we want it to go and how we want it to behave, and the last step is whether we want to choose to measure results. So we have the option to send 100% of traffic, audience traffic, to see this particular recommendation unit. But we also have A/B testing directly integrated into this feature. So if you wanted to know what sort of performance or lift, either up or down, this unit might be causing, you can run this in an experiment and then choose a holdout set. So what percentage of your traffic do you want to hold out and control and compare to the behavior of people who saw recommendations? So I'll decide to run this in an experiment, have a 50-50 split in traffic distribution, and then I pick what metric I want. So I'll say I want to measure conversion rate of users that added to a cart. And so what this will do is randomly select half the users that come to my site to see this, half the users not to see it, and see if there's any statistical difference between those two. Kind of a standard randomized control test. So now I can review my settings and activate my unit. So once I activate my unit, I just deployed a bottom of content, product recommendation unit. So if I was on this storefront, I would see those recommendations appear. So a couple last things here, just to kind of point out a few of the other features on here. The unit I deployed is all the way over here on the left. It hasn't gathered enough data to actually display results yet, so it's telling me it's still gathering site data, and it'll display performance metrics once it's gathered enough. There's a few other recommendation units that are gathering traffic, and this is dummy data, so it's not live production data, but it's just for illustration purposes. So we'll see a couple have a positive lift. One currently has a negative lift, but it's within a statistical margin of error. And then there's one unit where I've given all visitors this traffic, and so this is a case where I've just said everybody should see recommendations. I'll have the option to set these particular units to active versus inactive, so I can choose to toggle them off or on. I can see the ones that I have in the inactive state, and I can also choose to archive the units, which basically shut them off, but leave the data in place in case I ever want to come back and see the results that I measured.